hatchery complex really was here meant they were probably going to get paid. Cosaway took them in, landing the cutter with a bump. The crater was every bit as deserted as it seemed, a shallow bowl of dull stone sheltering the complex. The hatchery was even bigger than it had looked from the air, a cathedral of white marble and blue tile. The blue dome looked more like the sky than the actual sky overhead, which was a streaky yellow-grey. The people of Lost Akentir had been giant serpents, and their buildings were all on a scale to match. The arch in the wall of the complex was 50 feet high. Beyond its cool shadow, sunlight pooled in a courtyard just as enormous. Even the survey office didn't know this place existed, said Shuthmili. We might be the first people to walk here since the fall of Akentir. That never gets old for you, does it? Said Cosaway with affection as she shouldered her backpack. I can't believe nobody's looted this place, said Tal, running his fingertips over the tiled wall. The tiles were a brilliant sea blue, minutely patterned with a design of interlocking spirals. Even these would sell, he added, tapping one. People would love it. Do up your dining room with some genuine snake rubbish. Tal was Cosaway's oldest friend and oldest enemy. Next to each other they made a perfect contrast. Cosaway was only just taller than Shuthmili, square and compact. Tal was a tall, stringy Tlanthothe, with twitchy petal-shaped ears. We aren't looters, we're surveyors, said Shuthmili. She had shed a lot of scruples, but some of them really stuck. We sell maps. To looters, said Tal. It's not our fault looting is all we know. It's not. They're scholars. Oh, put a lid on it. Telesares, she said, seeing that Tal was grinning at her. It's not my fault you have a lack of transferable skills. She consoled herself that the ruined Ekentiri colony worlds were famously sparse pickings for looters anyway. Acres of dust and damage, with usually nothing to show for it but a few clay cylinders and a scattering of serpent bones. People don't like stealing from Ekentiri worlds anyway, said Cosaway, flicking Tal in the shoulder as she passed him. You heard them back on Cricket Station. We're caught in a horrible snake curse just visiting here. Don't let the Professor hear you, said Tal. I'm fairly certain Professor Tavulin would think a horrible snake curse was the most exciting thing that had ever happened to her, said Shuthmili. Speak of the devil, muttered Tal, as Professor Tavulin's minuscule cutter landed beside theirs. The engine puttered out, engulfed by the immense encompassing silence of the dead world. Tavulin was their client, an elderly historian from a university in distant Terrason. She wore a hat with a translucent veil to shield her bone-white hair and skin from the sun. As she approached them, she walked with the slow swimming gait of one enchanted, and the veil billowed behind her like the mantle of a jellyfish. All right, Professor? Need a hand? Said Cosaway, who generally treated Tavulin with the patient, resigned cheerfulness one might use on a fragile relative. No assistance needed, said Tavulin in her small, quiet voice. It was odd for a client to want to join them. Their job was to chart the place and squash any obvious threats, to make way for the researchers who would follow. But Tavulin's devotion to her subject came before all else. The most wonderful, intact hatchery. Never have I imagined it. Her Terracine accent became more marked when she was emotional, though she still spoke in little more than a whisper. Shuthmili checked through her notebooks, while Tal and Cosaway counted off their provisions. They always carried more than they needed, since there was nothing growing and no running water in the dead world. Tavulin, meanwhile, had her own rituals to conduct. Before they entered the hatchery proper, She knelt on the stones.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.